All right, let's talk to another legend, Harold the H. Peacock. He is a historian. He's going to tell us about a story about the first Ipswich soldier to die on the beaches of Gallipoli in 1915. G'day there, Harold the H.
Yes, good morning, Danny. Yeah, this story hasn't been told for 107 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's time to be told again, time to remember some more heroes.
Well, let's hold on. The other mob want to record this, so recording now. Go ahead.
Okay. Look, there's some conjecture about who was actually the first man from Ipswich to be killed on that first Anzac Day.
What an honour. What an honour.
Oh, well, I guess it's an honour, but it's an honour for the whole family too, that they died protecting Australia, the freedoms we have. Now, the 1st Battalion ashore was, of course, Queensland's fighting 9th Battalion, and so sadly, there's quite a number of locals from which to choose. Some say it was a 19-year-old lad, Michael O'Sullivan, from Rosewood, but it might actually have been his 33-year-old Lieutenant John Roberts, who lived here on Flint Street in North Ipswich. Both men served in the 9th Battalion's D Company, and both lost their lives very early on in the Anzac landing at Surrey Bear. Now, Lieutenant Roberts was born in County Durham in England in 1881. He spent practically his whole life in the military, having worked his way up from a boy bugler to Sergeant Major in the British Territorials. He and his wife Sarah migrated to Ipswich in 1912, and he got a job as a plumber at the railway workshops.
Oh.
Now, he was known as a bright, energetic and enthusiastic officer. He was small in stature, standing just 5'4", but big in heart and with a deep love for his country, as we all do.
Sounds like me.
He does. Now, although hopefully you're with us for a while yet. Now, the 9th Battalion was famously the first ashore at Gallipoli at 4:28 a.m. on the 25th of April 1915. We know that. Now, as they charged up the slopes, Lieutenant Roberts was well out in front of his men, but was cut off by some Turks and couldn't get back.
Wow.
He accounted for a whole pile of the enemy. He used his revolver on them left and right until they riddled him with bullets. Now, a private, Robert Ralston from Clifton on the Darling Downs, saw how Lieutenant Roberts died, and he said that his first and last thoughts were of his men, and on the 25th, he always was foremost in the firing line. Wherever the firing was the hottest, Lieutenant Roberts was there.
Wow.
And he added that he deserves the VC for what he did. It was not go on from him, but come on all the time. Now, isn't that a great leader?
Oh, that is leadership, mate.
Yeah, now, but because Roberts was so far ahead, no officer witnessed what he did, and so it was impossible for the Victoria Cross or any medal to be awarded. Now, Roberts had gone to the Ipswich Technical College and was the first ex-student of the college to be killed in the war.
Wow.
He may have, in fact, been the first man from Ipswich to die that day. So we all owe a debt to, the forgotten John Roberts and all the other heroes. But Danny, did you know there's someone who owes a bit more than others?
Oh, here we go. Hold it.
Yeah, look, that's because just 4 days before the Gallipoli landing, Roberts wrote to his wife Sarah back here in Ipswich. He told her that he was sending her £10 to be forwarded by a second lieutenant, Percy Adsett. Now, Adsett was a 20-year-old schoolteacher from Clayfield in Brisbane, and he'd gone back to Anzac headquarters in Egypt. Now, 4 months after the landing, and the money had not shown up. So Sarah wrote to Lieutenant Adsett, but got no reply. So in desperation, she wrote to the Federal Minister for Defence. But still Adsett didn't reply. Now, Adsett was safe, although he was later wounded at the Battle of Pozieres and returned to Brisbane, rightly a hero. But there's no sign of him ever giving Sarah her £10 back. In fact, back here in Queensland, he remains a mystery to this very day. That's because even the Queensland Museum launched a search for him 4 years ago, but have heard nothing. Now, Adsett passed away in 1970, leaving 5 children. Now, that £10 that Ipswich's John Roberts gave him back in 1915, if it had been put in the bank with compound interest,
Yes.
it would be worth over $10,000 today.
Come on, pay up.
Yeah, that's right, Danny. So if anyone knows the Adset family, tell them it's time to give Ipswich the money. And on Monday, remember John Roberts and the other forgotten heroes of Australia, of course.
Mate, what a wonderful story about... They were special. They were brave young men who stormed that beach and just were popped off. And, of course, Ataturk, who was in charge of the Turkish soldiers, had a great respect and said he would always look after and protect the bosoms of the Australian soldier. So, mate, another great story from you. How do we find that story?
Yes, that'll be uploaded first thing in the morning at historyouthere.com.
All the W's.historyouthere.com. Want another great story where we pay our respects to our Anzacs here on the Anzac station, West Bremer Radio at 8:22. Thank you, Harold.